Hey everybody, it's Beth from Yoga and Reiki Bliss, and I'm popping in today as we continue to explore the idea of the core, of the front body, the side body, even the back body. Today we're focusing on back body. So we'll do a little work around the hamstrings, glutes, and spinal muscles as a way to kind of look at the whole trunk area as the core of our foundation. Um, and I think for our practice today, we'll keep it super simple. A blanket's always nice to have for under your knees, and maybe a couple of blocks so that the earth doesn't feel so far away. Books could work, chair could work. I'm motioning to a chair that I have over here that you can't see. So let's hop on the mat. And we're going to start lying down. So give yourself some space. I would say go flat as you can on your mat. And we'll lie down, knees bent. And, often in yoga, we'll bring the heels close to the bum. But let's walk the feet a little farther forward. So we have more of a opportunity to engage the hamstrings and the glute muscles in particular. So bring a bit of distance from your heel to your bum. And then we'll let the feet set about the distance of your hips, the place where you can still feel your heels on the ground, the balls of your feet, your toes. So that'll kind of give you the distance away from your bum. And a place, again, where you feel pretty grounded. So I always use my hip points as a starting point and set my legs that distance. And so I'm going to work to keep my knees, my feet in the same plane so that my knees aren't going wider or narrower. And then from here, you could even flex your ankles so you really dig into your heels a bit more to activate that back chain. You're going to find a breath in. And when you exhale, we're going to decidedly let the pelvis tilt back. So we're taking sort of the back bend out of this shape and using it more as a glute strengthener. Lift your hips up. So you notice I'm not going super high with my pelvis. And then we're going to lower everything down. So if I really wanted this to be a back bend, I would need to take the backward tilt out of the pelvis, right? Because then it's more of a back bend. It's a natural order of things in that pelvis and spine. Take a breath in. Again, reinstitute that pelvic tilt backward. So your lower back moves toward the ground and lift your hips. See if we can get those glutes online. And then we'll lower everything down and we'll keep going like that. Take a breath in if you forgot to inhale. Exhale, little pelvic tilt, press into your heels, lift your hips. And lower. And let's go for 3 more of these. When you exhale, we'll press into the heels, we'll lift the hips. When you inhale, we'll lower. Again, as you exhale, we'll find that little backward tilt, lift the hips. You don't have to clench your bum. You should just notice that the muscles are engaged. And we'll do that one more time. Terrific. All right. From here, if you need a little swish, swish of your legs for any reason, feel free. Give a little swish, swish. Especially if this is a new action for you, it might take a few times to feel comfortable with it. From here, let's roll on over. Take your time, come on up. And we're going to come to hands and knees. I'm going with a blanket because I like a little cushion under my knee. I'm going to, again, work to set my knees about the distance of my hip points. Those are the knobby points on the front of your pelvis. I'm looking for a solid foundation, and that feels pretty stable to me. Not too wide, not too narrow. Same with my hands. I'm going to set my hands as wide as my shoulders so that space around or across my collarbones feels pretty spacious. I'm going to go through a few cat and cows, so you're welcome to join me just to move the pelvis and the spine. So with my exhale, I'm going to curl and round. And with an inhale, lift the tail, lift the heart. Keep a gentle pushing of the ground away so your arms are engaged. And notice as you move the pelvis into this rounded sensation, notice as you tip the pelvis back, how the spine rounds. And again, notice as you tip the pelvis forward, how the spine moves into a little bit of extension here. And I'd love you to find the spot in the middle where the pelvis isn't tucked under and the spine isn't rounded like cat, nor is it tilted forward or extended like cow, but you're right in the middle. And see if you can have an image of the sides of your waist gently hugging toward your belly button, and from the base of your pelvis zipping up to your breastbone. So there's just this little corset of support. It's not overly gripped, just lightly engaged. You can still breathe here, or that's my hope. You can stay on your hands. If your wrists get cranky, you could do this on your elbows. We're going to outstretch, excuse me, the right leg behind you with the toes tucked under. And I'd love you to lift that leg to the height that you can before you start to dip into cow pose, right? So we're not looking forward for that cow, trying to keep the pelvis stable, trying to keep the trunk stable. That's a big job of the abdominal muscles. And then we'll tap the toes down. Then we'll lift the leg to the height that you can without tipping into cow and lower 2 more times. So you can get a sense again of those gluteal muscles working. Then keep your leg lifted and let's step your foot forward in between your hands. Let's take a moment to invite a little lunge here. Find a breath, feel your feet underneath you. Then from here, let's step right into plank. And in your plank, I'm going to invite you to take a slight bit of a cat pose through the pelvis. Find those lower abdominals a little bit more engaged. Right, gravity's trying to pull us into extension, so we're going to fight that with this little tail tuck. Let's take one more breath. And then you can lower your knees and lower all the way to your belly. Let your forehead rest. Now with the breath in, draw the shoulder blades a little towards each other and a little towards your waist. Move them away from the shoulders and lift your chest. So here we are, nice easy baby cobra. In your baby cobra, go ahead and lift your hands so you can find those spinal muscles working more than just your hands or your arms. Then lower everything down. Take a breath in. I'm going to scooch back. This blanket's kind of in my way. Draw the shoulder blades in and towards your waist. As you exhale, lift your heart. Now go ahead, lift your hands just a little and add in a little flutter kick of your legs super straight. So hopefully you feel more of this motion from your hips. Take one more breath in, whole back chain engaged, and lower everything down. Good. From here, breathe your breath. As you exhale, let's press up to table. We'll come back. Find that place where you're neither in cow pose nor cat, right in the middle. And let's take your left leg out behind you. Same idea. Let's lift the left leg to the height that you can before you dip into cow and tap your toes down. Go ahead and lift and lower. And let's do one more lift. Let's keep it lifted and bring your knee forward, step your foot forward. Let's come into a lunge. Invite a breath in. And when you exhale, this time we're going to step forward to Uttanasana, standing forward bend. Let's enjoy a breath. Then when you breathe in, slide your hands up onto your thighs and let your spine lengthen halfway-ish, almost like parallel to the earth. When you exhale, lightly engage your abdominals from your pelvis. Bring the spine up. So you're using those strong glute muscles to bring everything up. Terrific. All right. From here, let's inhale the arms all the way up to the sky. Exhale your hands to your hips. Put a little bend in your knees. See if you can find that hinge again. So you're only going about halfway. the gluteal muscles slowing everything down, the hamstring muscles slowing everything down, so gravity doesn't win this battle. When that hinging stops, pause. And then when you inhale, bring your pelvis all the way back up. Again, a little bend in your knees. We're going to hinge forward. Your booty will stick a little bit back behind you, but I'd love you to keep your shins pretty vertical, so you're still standing on your two heels. When that hinging stops, come all the way up. So here we are again, trying to work the glutes and the hamstrings in this particular range of motion. Go ahead, hinge over. It's called an eccentric contraction on these muscles because they're slowing down the movement. And then we're going to come on up. Now we're going to let this turn into Uttanasana. So with the breath in, scoop your arms up. As you exhale, take your hands to your heart, a little bend in your knees, hinge. When you feel that hinging stop, that's when I'd love you to let your hands release to the ground or your blocks. Let your head and let your upper back release. Now shift the weight into your left foot. Take your right leg straight up and back behind you. Press your fingertips into your blocks. Lift your chest up and then tap your toes down right where they are. Lift your leg up and tap them down. One more time, lift your leg up and send it into a lunge. Now from your lunge, keep reaching back. If your back leg feels like it's too far back, you could always step it a little forward. We'll work to keep the feet maybe about hips width and come all the way up or as up off your blocks as you feel confident, right? So even hovering, you're starting to engage these muscles to bring you upright and to fight gravity pulling you down. So one might argue that this puts a little more load on the back chain here. So that might be interesting to play with. Take one more breath wherever you are, and then lower your hands. Press into that left heel, lift your right leg up, and slowly step your foot together. With a breath in from the pelvis, come up, sweep out, rise up. As you exhale, hinge forward. When that hinging stops, release your head, release your hands, release your upper back. Let the weight shift into your right heel. Breathe your left leg up and back behind you. You can turn your blocks up or rise to your fingertips, stretch your heart forward, and then tap your toes down. Lift your left leg and tap your toes down. Again, as you lift, we're going to keep it lifted this time. Try to keep the pelvis, the spine pretty neutral, then take it into your lunge. You can step your back foot in as you need to, but we'll work to keep the feet in their own lane, hips width. And then see, as you root down, where's your comfort level in rising up? Let the pelvis pick you upright, as high as you'd like. You can even add in the arms for a little extra challenge, balance and weight. Let's take one or two more breaths. And slowly hinge forward. Let your hands find your blocks. Press into that right heel, lift your left leg, and come to Uttanasana. With a breath in, let's sweep out and rise up. Exhale your hands to your heart, hinge, long spine. When you feel that movement at your pelvis, that hinging stop, release your hands, your head, your upper back. Let's shift the weight into the left heel, take the right leg up again. And then slowly take it into your lunge. Now take your right hand and your block right under your shoulder. Let's go ahead and breathe your left arm forward and turn it into a twist. And see if you can feel the muscles that are working to help you twist. You've got twisting muscles in your spine, but you've also got twisting muscles around the sides of your ribs, those intercostal, those oblique muscles. Take one more breath. Then as you inhale, we're going to lower your hand down. Press into that left heel. Lift your right leg up. Come into Uttanasana. With a breath in, sweep out, rise all the way up. Take your hands to your heart, hinge. When that hinging stops, turn it into Uttanasana. Shift the weight into your right heel. Take your left leg up behind you. Stretch your heart forward. Slowly descend into your lunge. Bring your left block under your left shoulder. Breathe your right arm forward and find your twist. And breathe your breath. And if the arm on the top here is too much, you can put your hand on your hip. You're still working those spinal muscles that twist you. Let's take one more full breath. And when you breathe in, we'll lower your hand down. We'll lift that leg up and we'll step it together, Uttanasana. With a breath in, sweep out, rise up. And exhale your hands at your heart. All right, make a little clear space for yourself. Maybe even into the center of the mat you go. Still mountain pose. I'm going to place one hand on my belly, one hand on my heart as a reminder to keep that sort of corset of support, and also to remind myself to try not to rotate the pelvis or the spine. We're going to do little warrior 3 tilts. So let's take your left leg, like a little kickstand behind you. We're going to keep the weight through the right foot, especially the right heel, and start to hinge forward. But here's the trick. As you hinge, you got to lift your back leg up. You don't have to lift it high. You don't have to hinge forward like deep. Let's just do a little one and then come back. Again, let's hinge forward, trying to keep everything in the pelvis and the spine neutral. Front to back, right to left. And come back. And maybe you do that one more time. And maybe each time as you repeat, you try to go a little farther. Right? Again, it doesn't have to be warrior 3 like you see in the pictures in a magazine or online. And think that whole back chain working and come on back. And okay if you fall out, right? But we're, as you lift the leg, you're engaging the glutes and the hamstrings help. Of course, the quads will help to keep the knee straight. And we're keeping length through the spine rather than let it round. So then you've got those spinal muscles working. Let's try the other leg. Tip your left foot back behind you, your right foot back behind you. Take a breath in. Hinge a little forward, but lift your back leg at the same time, just a few inches off the ground. And come on up. Like that little dunking bird thing, right? Hinge forward, lift your back leg. Maybe you go a little deeper. You'll see. With control, come on back. Again, nice support through the front abdominal muscles so that you can keep also a sense of stability there to encourage the back muscles. They all kind of work together. Take one more moment, hinge, and see if you can come back with control. Terrific. All right, last thing we're going to do together. Let's take a big breath in. Take your hands all the way forward and down you go, Uttanasana. Let's step into plank pose. Again, find that slight little tail tuck, strong push of the ground away. And when you're ready to exhale, either with the knees down first or in one straight line, lower all the way to your belly. Now from here, rest your forehead on the ground and flip your arms down by the sides of your body. You can keep the palms facing your thighs, or you could turn the arms so the palms are facing down. Either way is fine. I'm going to stick with the palms facing my thighs. From here, friends, draw your shoulder blades a little in towards each other and a little towards your hips, so they're moving a little bit away from your ears. When you exhale, lift your arms, lift your chest. So now we've got the muscles in the spine working, the muscles in the backs of the shoulders working. Go ahead and lengthen your 2 legs, lift them up. So now we've got the glutes and the hamstrings working. Point your toes, you've got the calves working. Pull back chain, super engaged. Find one more breath and lower everything down. So this is Shalabhasana. It's one of my favorite poses, particularly because of that whole back line engagement. Find a breath. And let's do that again. When you inhale, draw your shoulder blades a little in and towards your waist. Let your arms lengthen and lift. Exhale, lift your chest. Keep the chin a little soft. Then let the two legs lift. And if that's too much, you can always do that flutter kick. Otherwise, stay and breathe in. Think of getting long. So it's not just about lifting high, but getting long. And then lower everything down. All right, gang. We're going to pause it there. If you like, come back up to table. Give your hips a little wag in case things got a little cranky. I was going to say we're going to pause it there, but I'd like to do one more thing if you're willing. Take your left hand, your right hand, excuse me, place it right underneath your nose. Slip your left hand to your hip. And when you exhale, make a little twist to your left, but turn your head to keep looking at your hand. And then bring your chest to face downward. Do that 2 more times if you will. So this is a little spinal mobility. So this can be really nice after a little twist. After a little back bend to do a little twist. Come on back. All right. Flip your left hand about the center of your mat. You can think of it lining up under your nose. Push the ground away. Let's take your right hand to your hip. Keep that strong pushing as you turn your belly, your chest, maybe even your hip a little bit to the right, but keep looking down and then turn everything back to the center. A little twist. Maybe this is an exhale. Maybe it's an inhale. Just keep breathing. Let's do that one more time. Great. All right. Have a moment, have a sit, have a breath. Notice how things feel. I'm always curious. So if you want to leave a comment on how you're feeling, just in terms of exploring this practice from the lens of the back chain engagement, let me know, write a comment. And if you like it, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube page, please do so. Please share it with your friends so that we can continue to grow our beautiful Yoga Bliss community. If you have questions, comments, you want to find out more about our classes, you can reach me at thisisyourbliss.com. I think that's it. And I'm on the social medias at thisisyourbliss.com. All right, friends, have a wonderful day. I'll look forward to connecting with you soon. Bye.